growing TV brand. The Vikings game just ended. What'd you think? Let's hear it. It's Vikings Vent Line. Call us at 651-646-8255 or tweet us at Score North. Vent. This is Vikings Vent Line.
And Manny Hill, I'm Phil Mackey. Let's waste zero time getting to our thoughts and calls. The game's not even over, by the way. We just said bleep it. We usually wait till the final whistle to start the show, but not tonight. The game ended a while ago, in theory. The phone lines are full right now. John, Sam, Max, Adam, Alec have all jumped on the line before the show even started. You can get on the line as soon as these guys drop off. 651-646-8255. Welcome to Vikings Vent Line on Score North and the Score North app. Also live on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, and on live.scorenorth.com. And I just want to start the show, just a quick little soapbox here for a second.
Sure.
So many things we could dive into here. Kirk Cousins' offensive line was garbage. I want to talk for a second about the two dumbest punts I've ever seen. The two dumbest punts I've ever seen watching football, Manny Hill. And I think you know which ones I'm talking about because you and I both had the same reaction. As soon as the punt team came out for both, it was like, what?
Yeah.
Punt number one was 4th and 1 from the Vikings 45-yard line, fairly early in the fourth quarter, trailing at that point. And so without even getting into the details first, it's an automatic go for it. If you're in the middle of the field like that and you're losing, and by the way, it's not like you have a bunch of opportunities offensively. Take advantage of being halfway down the field in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just go for it. Go for it. So it looks like the Vikings are going to go for it.
Well, hang on. Let me stop you for a minute.
Sure.
4th and 15. There's 2 minutes left. The Vikings are going for it now.
Right.
I mean, why not punt it now?
Well, let's get to the
While
second
we're
one.
at it, just punt it away now.
So,
what the hell?
So they decide to go up to the line of scrimmage and do a hard count for literally 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 16 seconds left on the clock. And Kirk Cousins starts walking back toward the sideline. And they burn a timeout. Why? It doesn't make sense.
That's the football. It's, Phil, it's one thing if you call a timeout in that situation, which is still kind of ridiculous. But it's one thing if you call the timeout there and then you decide, okay, let's get the right play that we want to go for it on 4th down here and keep possession. No, let's call the timeout because we don't want to get a delay a game. We got to save those 5 yards, and so we can just punt it away.
You're right. Take the 5 yards in that spot. Go for it. Go for it every single time.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't dumb enough, and by the way, Kirk Cousins running for his life, and who knows what he's doing here, and there's a dropped pass to basically end the game. So, but if that wasn't enough of a dumb punt, later on, down by 13 points, 3.5 minutes to go, it's 4th and 24. And they punt again. The game ends when you punt in that spot.
Yeah.
Mike Zimmer, what are you doing? And I get that, at that point, you're already down by 13. It's already a disaster. The game's probably over.
And 4th and 24 is obviously very, very hard to convert. But but
you punt and the game is over.
Yeah. I mean, if the Packers and the Vikings got very, very lucky that they forced the Packers to go 3 and out on that ensuing possession, because if the Packers pick up 1 first down there, the Vikings probably don't get the ball back.
Yes.
And that's what you risk there in that particular situation. And you know what? I got people tweeting at me saying, well, the game is over anyway. Well, if you go for it on that 4th down and you don't get it, and I understand that the likelihood of you getting it on 4th and 24 is very low. If you don't get it, the game's over anyway.
Yeah.
So either way, you have to give yourself a chance to keep possession there. You're down by 2 scores. There's 3.5 left. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So the Vikings are on their way to dropping to 10-5, and it's still a very successful season, and they can still finish 11-5, and we'll see what happens. But there's a lot to talk about. But those were the two dumbest punts I've ever seen.
139 yards of offense for the Vikings tonight,
and that includes garbage time.
Yep,
that includes garbage time.
Oh, it was garbage time, all right.
Let's turn it over to you guys. Frustrated, I'm assuming, Vikings fans. 651-646-8255. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Phil Mackey. That is at MannyHill84. And we are at Score North, SKOR North on social. John in Manhattan, you're the leadoff hitter, buddy. Go ahead.
Fellas, season's greetings. I'm not
Season's
saying I
beatings
told you
tonight.
so, but I told you so.
Yeah.
I've been calling in as the messiah of trashdom with this quarterback. Could not get it done. And what I just witnessed was one more notch in the belt of could not get it done. This quarterback is trash.
John, that's a good phone call.
John in Manhattan. I got a feeling he'll be calling us tomorrow, the 2-hour event line tomorrow. Me, Danny, and Judd.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat on that Kirk Cousins bone here. Let's just rifle through some here. Sam in Minneapolis.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I don't know the exact stat, but I think, like in the last 10 games or so, the Vikings had allowed, I think, 1 or 0 sacks. And so you kind of always expected that the, equilibrium would swing back the other way because, that's how life is as a Vikings fan. But, you figure it would be against like the Bears with Khalil Mack, and I didn't really think it would happen in this context. I think, you mentioned the punt, so I won't get into that, but it seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. The defense, to its credit, played incredibly in the first half and most of the third quarter, I think. Like 3 turnovers on their side of the field. If you can only muster 10 points out of it, like, I don't know what to tell you. And to add insult to injury now, like, Kendricks was out of the game, Barr was banged up. All else equal, if the season ends the way that we expect it to, with the Packers winning next weekend, we would have to go to New Orleans, in the first, in the wild card weekend, which is just a nightmare matchup. And so it's really frustrating. It's a complete missed opportunity. I know Kirk played badly, but the offensive line probably put up its worst performance of the season. It was despicable. It was everything that we thought went wrong last year that we thought we had fixed. I think it emphasizes that Dalvin Cook and Madison, to an extent, probably make this offensive line look better than it actually is.
Yeah.
But just really disappointing. So thanks for taking my call.
No, thank you. And I, on Kirk real quick. So the offensive line was a disaster tonight. A disaster. And Dalvin Cook not playing makes a huge difference. And you and I talked about this on our Instagram halftime vent line, Manny, that Dalvin Cook not being in the game not only impacts the respect or lack thereof the Packers defense gives you a running game, it also impacted the way the Vikings called plays in the first half, too. There wasn't nearly as much play action. That was the first interception Kirk Cousins has thrown on play action all season. But at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins, primetime, winning opponents, these are all the stories that every time he plays a Monday night game, I mean, this gets talked about, right?
Now.
He's 0-9.
I know people are tired of hearing about the record and tired of the narrative, but until he exercises it, it's not going to go away.
He was 16 of 31 for a $122, 3.9 yards per attempt, had a bad interception. He did throw a dime of a touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs. But, I mean, at some point, like, dude, it's not all on you all the time, but sometimes it's on you. A lot it's on you. Let's go back to the phone lines here. Max in DC, you are on Vikings Vent Line. Fire away.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. Definitely echo everything that you guys have said so far. I mean, those punts, my jaw was dropping. I'm like, they think they'll have a better chance of scoring, get an onside kick instead of getting a 4th and 20 or whatever it was. I mean, just ridiculous. But sticking on the coaching, I feel like it was just a weird, play calling from beginning to finish. I felt like it reminded me of last year where it was just a lot of running, but also just a lot of normal drop back passes. They weren't moving the pocket. Kirk wasn't on the move. He wasn't doing bootlegs. I feel like Kirk's at his best when he's moving. He doesn't have to think as much. He's back there. His offensive line's matched up. He panics. He doesn't move around well in the pocket. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. And I feel like the play calling with Kubiak and Stefanski has been solid all year. But tonight, it just, I don't know. It didn't have that same type of magic. I don't feel like the personnel is any different. It was just a different way that the offense looked. And then one last point, the first call was hysterical about Kirk, but if everything has to be right for him to succeed, maybe it is time for him to move along and you explore the trade market in the off season. And there's a certain Mr. Bridgewater in the free agency pool next year too.
Wow.
Maybe you can make a little bit of a swap, but thanks for taking my call and happy holidays.
Amazing. All right, Max in DC. Let's go to Adam in Minneapolis. You're next up on Vikings Vent Line.
Hey guys, I know we have a tough road to hoe tonight against the feared Green Bay defense, but what I really want to know is what franchise Stefanski is going to be head coach of after this year, after he put up just wowed us with his brilliance tonight at US Bank Stadium.
139 yards worth of brilliance tonight. 2.6 yards per play.
Yeah, he got worked.
Yep.
I mean, they all got worked.
Yep.
Titus in St. Paul. You're on Vikings Vent Line. Phil Mackey, Manny Hill.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's happening, man?
Yeah, so this is the deal here for me. I'm pretty upset, as you can probably imagine. This is the big thing for me was this is the one game I feel like that I really need to see the Vikings win. I felt like if they can go in and win this, I feel confident about them in the playoffs. And they botched it tonight. And I just feel like I'm not quite sure how I feel going into the playoffs now. I'm definitely not as confident. And also, back to like the turnovers, like the defense played decently well overall for one game, and this is what we asked for out of the defense. And then our offense can't go out and turn those turnovers into points. And so it's like we can't get the team to work well on both sides right now. And honestly, that's going to be a huge issue in the playoffs. So yeah,